Greg, how easy or difficult has it been to identify what's gone wrong so far? Hello and welcome. Welcome back, no doubt. You're here just in time for the haka. The New Zealand Wheel Blacks leading us in the haka. They have not had the best of tournaments thus far, having lost both of their Group B matches, so they are out of the running for making it to the Paralympics. Unfortunately, a team that isn't out of the running, a team that has qualified for the semi-finals, that is Canada. I'm Drew Lilly, I've got Dave Menjian alongside me. It's a dead rubber, but it's certainly not going to be a dead rubber, this one, is it?
No, New Zealand's playing for pride here. They're going to give it everything they got, and Canada's not going to take them for granted because they want to come out on the top of this bracket and make sure that they get to play the weaker seed in the crossovers tomorrow.
Yes, Canada wanting to make sure that they make it to the top of the pile. There's the New Zealand squad. They've got a very strong lineup, and they've also had a reclassification of one of their players, and I was speaking to their mechanic, former assistant coach Greg Mitchell before the match, and he explained all of that to us. Greg, how easy or difficult has it been to identify what's gone wrong so far and trying to put it right for the forthcoming matches?
Well, we've made a lot of really simple errors at times, and it's just one of those things. You have to react to what's put in front of you, and we haven't reacted well enough. So it's just a case of playing our process, getting stuck in, and just doing what we do normally. We don't have to change much, just do it better.
What's the plan for today? Because you're coming up against Canada, who are one of the favourites for the tournament. How are you treating this match?
We are lucky enough that we had one change in classification. Myra Meyer's gone down to a two-pointer, so she effectively plays the 1-5 on court, giving us a change in the pick bar out there with them, so Cody Everson will play in that lineup. A lot more speed there, longer inbound, so it's going to change things up a little. Outside of that, we have to stop Zach Medell. I mean, you don't stop him, you don't stop Canada at all. The two-pointers, they go long, they stay wide, they do simple things well for them. So again, you've just got to cover that pass, stop the right people, and then just hang in that fight and stick till the end.
Good luck. All you've got to do is stop Zach Medell.
It sounds simple, doesn't it? Just stop one guy.
Yes, it's a simple game, says Greg. We had a quick word with an absolute legend of Canadian and world wheelchair rugby. You can see his name there amongst the coaches, Garrett Hickling. I had a quick chat with him before the match as well. Garrett, you've seen a lot of wheelchair rugby in your time. You've seen a lot of Canadian wheelchair rugby in your time. How good is this team that is here at the moment?
This team is very strong, very good, very competitive, and we want to be top notch.
Well, you're top of your group at the moment, through to the semis, so let's talk about the other teams. What do you think of the standard of the tournament thus far?
The tournament's been very great. The quality of the teams is definitely getting stronger and stronger every year, and we look forward to the competitions and playing the best we can play.
What's Canada's main goal here? Is it just to qualify for the Paralympics, or do you want to finish first and get one over on Australia?
We want to just play the best we can play. If the guys play like they know we can play, I got no feeling we could take this tournament.
Thanks very much. Not giving much away there. G, the legend who's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. But the big news that we got from Greg Mitchell is that Maya Armai has been reclassified from a 2-5 to a 2, and here she is out in the opening lineup there for New Zealand with Hayden Barton-Coots, who's going to go up against Zach Medell, the man they want to stop. And they're allowed to win the first tip. Cody Everson out there as well, and Cam Leslie. So that makes a strong lineup for the Wheeled Blacks to get this match underway.
It does, and it'll make this game, I think, a lot more interesting for everybody.
Leslie goes over for the first score.
It's a penalty try. Barton-Coots got pushed across the line. Or I'm sorry, Whitehead got pushed across the line by Barton-Coots.
Dark-haired referee that you can see there is Katharina Adler of Austria. Tasmin Haynes is the other official. There she is there to the left, and it's one score apiece. Canada as well running an interesting starting lineup.
Yeah, this time they're starting with the high-low. They've got Whitehead out there with Medell, and of course the low pointers, Green number 7 and Hirschfield number 10.
So as high-low as the Canadians can possibly go. Zach Medell 3.5 and Michael Whitehead 3.0. And you're allowed 8 points out there at any one time. New Zealand are allowed 8.5 thanks to Maya, because female players allow you to play an extra 0.5, so it's almost an extra point for them, the fact that she's gone down from a 2-5 to a 2 and she's a female player. So that could be a real game changer for New Zealand. I said earlier, Dave, they're playing for pride. They will wanted to make darn sure that they finish 5th in this tournament. They can't get into the semi-finals, but there's still going to be placing matches, 4th in Group A versus 3rd in Group B, vice versa, and then the winners of those get to play off for 5th and 6th, and they're certainly going to be wanting to finish 5th rather than 8th.
Absolutely, and it matters. It matters in the world rankings. It matters in their ability to fundraise, and frankly, they have a full house here of fans watching. Because they're the home team, obviously. We've seen some fans from other countries, but a handful, whereas the bleachers are full.
Certainly have been full here at the New Zealand campus of innovation and sport. And some very good turnouts for the Wheeled Blacks, and you can hear just what it means to the crowd. New Zealand currently ranked 8th in the world, Canada 5th. Pretty low ranking for Canada, 5th, isn't it? But it just shows how good the top 6 are. France is 6th.
Yes, the parity has grown quite a bit in the past 5 or 10 years.
Whitehead taking his time, spinning this way and that. Hirschfield trying to make room for Medell, and Hirschfield in the end.
Medell tried to do that himself, and he was right there against the line. Hirschfield took advantage of it.
Three each. You can see the scoreboard there, 3-3, and then 4 and 2. Each team has 4 floor timeouts that last for 30 seconds, used, for example, when a player thinks they won't get the ball over the halfway line within 10 seconds of the inbound, which is what they need to do now, and they've just about done. Hayden Barton-Coots against Zach Medell. That's going to be one heck of a matchup. And then the 2 there are the coaches' timeouts for the coaches to reset those last 4 a minute, and can be only taken during a dead ball situation. Shot clock there, you can see to the right of your screen, ticking down 7, 6. You can hear the entourage calling through that as well, and that was just about corralled in time. It went through a lot of sets of hands.
Yeah, good ball movement there from both corners. It went from corner to corner and back into the middle, but it drew the defense to both sides and opened that up for Amai.
And a loose ball that is...
Lucky bounce there.
Certainly was. Amai is going to get there just before Hirschfield, but no, he got the chair positioning to make sure that he could get over the line. She's got the wheels of a 2.0, and perhaps even the wheels of a 2.5, of a former 2.5. Cameron Leslie as well was a 3 at the start of the World Championships in Denmark and then was classified down to a 2.5. So it's almost as if they've got an extra half a point, shall we say, between the downward classification of Amai and also of Cameron Leslie a while back.
That really is huge for them. I mean, you're playing with a whole extra point. The lineups you can run are just so much stronger because the people around you can have more function.
So Dave, as a player, explain to us how classification and reclassification during a tournament works.
Well, the challenge of getting reclassed during a tournament is that you go into a tournament with all these lines set up and a plan for how to execute things. And when you have a player that gets classified, and they do this every time until you're permanent, if they change your classification, it changes all the things that you can do. If it goes up, it kind of ruins your lines. And if it goes down, you can have more strength around that player, but it also means it's probably a line you haven't practiced. So it makes it a challenge. But the classifications are always between 0.5 and 3.5, and typically people don't move very much unless they have a disability that is degenerative.
Leslie crosses the line. Canada were down to 3. They had a player in the sin bin, so that enabled New Zealand to get on the board. But yes, classification can be ongoing, and as Medell takes the ball up the court, we're going to see a table with 3 classifiers on there with our backs to us at the moment, and they are observing all of the players to make sure that they are in genuine classifications and not either classified too high or too low. So those 3 people there, all dressed in black.
I expect there are players that have not been fully classified. The part of classification is muscle tests in a closed environment, and part of it is watching them play and see how they use the function that they have.
Huge hit on 3.0 on his opposite number, so Hayden Barton-Coots, a huge hit on Whitehead.
Not a guy you see on the floor a lot.
Whitehead trying to block HBC, easier said than done.
Canada running what we call a snake eyes key, where 2 in, 2 out. Most of the time you'll see 3 players in there and 1 out. That way they can adjust.
So a handling error there from Maya Amai, and it was picked off beautifully by one part of the high-low by Michael Whitehead, and he fired that one forward to Zach Medell, and that is the first break of service, if you like, the first turnover and point scored against possession.
And Canada's first lead.
Indeed, the tip-off went the way of the Wheel Blacks, so that put them in the lead. It's now 7 apiece, but Canada have the ball. Hirschfield inbounding to Medell. New Zealand setting up in the key.
It feels like the strategy for New Zealand has been all week to slow the game down by playing the key defense to force the teams to have to go through all their players to score. And I don't know if that's because they feel they have a speed differential or just that their key defense is that strong.
Changes for Canada. You can see Anthony Letourneau has come on, Eric Rodrigue. And that's with Hayden Barton-Coots, who was stuck in the sin bin. So it was a dead ball situation. Substitutions can be made. You also have to be ready poised to come on as a substitute. You have to be waiting in a certain place to come on. So rolling substitutions allowed throughout the match, but have to be done based on a certain protocol. And a timeout had to be called there by Barton Coots. He called for the inbound as a way of getting out of the sin bin because one of the Canadians was blocking his exit, which is a tactic you can use. And then there he thought he wasn't going to be able to inbound within the 10 seconds you are allowed to do so. It doesn't count against the game clock or the shot clock, but you only have 10 seconds in which to do that.
It's a very common tactic. They want to take the best ball handler and force them to inbound so they're not on the floor to take the ball and advance it.
Yes, you're taking 3 points off the court by making sure that Barton Coots is behind the line and inbounding.
3 points with an incredible reach.
Yes, 3 points at a 2-meter wingspan.
It's really hard to defend an inbound when the receiver of that ball is just hands higher than you.
Statue of Liberty, he just sticks his hand up there and no one can get near the ball. Well, they've taken a timeout to make sure that they didn't lose this possession before it even started. And now time is ticking down, as you can see from the clock and hear from the count. Maya Amai gets through.
They worked hard for that one, but they got it done. Patient, worked with their strengths.
Referee Tasmin Haynes there from Australia. Eight all, getting towards the last 2 minutes of this first quarter. Cody Caldwell also on for Canada, going for a more balanced lineup. A couple of 2-pointers, Caldwell and Letourneau.
Caldwell swiped that out, but Leslie was able to get it back. But they ate up some shot clock. We're down to 17.
Canada scoring almost at will, and the Wheel Blacks really being made to work for their points. And that was just a little bit too much for Cody Everson to do. He's a 1-pointer, so he'll be strapped into his chair, getting him to reach forward with the lack of trunk function that he has. That was asking a little bit too much. The ball goes out of bounds, and so it's a corner inbound. But that poses no problems for Anthony Letourneau. Almost an over and back where the ball went over into the front court and then back into the back court, but not quite. And it was excellent work in the end from Cody Caldwell to get that ball out. Canada will ideally want to score on 55 seconds, but I think the main thing for them will just to be to score. And then Letourneau coming and barging Amai over the line for the penalty try.
Be interesting to see how they manage the clock here. They have almost 52 seconds, which is when they would like to score. So if they can't score very quickly, they're probably going to use up as much as they can.
So it was not judged to be a penalty try. Instead, Amai goes into the bin. We had some great camera work there, seeing Amai taking a really long run up. Or rather, Letourneau taking a really long run up to get Amai over the line and out of bounds. So Canada eating up the shot clock here. And what they can do is take a timeout, reset the shot clock to 15. That was an incredibly late timeout call by Medell. I was listening to the countdown from the Canadian bench, and maybe he knows that they count a second or so early, but that was a late timeout call. So that resets the shot clock to 15. So the shot clock is the same as the game clock, and providing they score here, they will have a 2-point advantage. New Zealand won't have time to score. He goes over with 0.7 seconds to go. It's a 2-point game, and Leslie's going to keep that in his lap. So at the end of the first quarter, Canada lead their Commonwealth rivals from New Zealand 10-8. We're back for the second quarter. They've kept it tight, the Wheel Blacks. They're only 2 points behind. Unfortunately for them, they won the opening tip, so got possession there, and then possession alternates after that at the start of every quarter, unless there's been a held ball or a jump ball. So it means that the possession arrow is facing the way of Canada. It's just been swapped over now. So the next contested possession, or the start of the next quarter, will be in favour of New Zealand, but Canada have the ball here and looking to make it a 3-point lead. Quite a tight opening quarter, only the 18 points scored. Beautiful lofted pass over the top. Canada having made a few more adjustments and changed their lineup again. Hirschfield back on. Rio Kovac is on there as well.
Pico Dagenet, number 12, is the low pointer down there with Hirschfield.
So they're running through a lot of their lineups. Cameron Leslie will never have the wheels to outpace Medell. So there's a couple of high pointers there, Medell and Kovac. Leslie trying to barge his way through.
He had Amaya toward the corner if he'd looked up. He thought he could get through.
Kovac, 2.5 pointer. Oh, Barton Coots with the, and that is going to be, well, we've got a player down, so that stops play, and that may let the Wheel Blacks off the, well, it may let Canada off the hook there.
Yeah, because possession didn't change before the whistle happened, so because no team was able to get ball and call timeout, they will get it back. Yeah, Barton Coots got a piece of it.
That could have been an over and back, the ball going over into the front court as far as Canada are concerned, and then back into their back court, which would have meant a turnover. Popped beautifully over the top by Medell for Hirschfield, who then fires it into the crowd. Might have gone down well with Katarina Adler.
I think if it hadn't been caught, she'd have said something. She probably said something to him.
Throwing the ball away when you score here, so we'll see what Cameron Leslie does. He bounces it for Tasmin Haynes, the referee there, who is calling for a mechanic.
A loose axle.
There we go. But yes, it's one way of gaining a bit of time. You spin the ball away or throw the ball away, and it allows your teammates to reset on defense. And referees have seen that before over the years, I'm sure.
Even when you set it on the ground, you can give it a little push in the opposite direction. But I'd never do that.
I was about to say, spoken like a true high pointer and try scorer who flicks the ball away. Sorry, did I? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
You don't want to get on the bad side of the referees, because if it comes down to a judgment call, it might not go in your favor.
Cody Everson bunting that forward, and it didn't get over the halfway line within the 10 seconds. 12 seconds, sorry, it's 10 seconds for the bounce, 12 for getting it over the halfway line. And
it's 10 to inbound, and they start that clock as soon as the ball, as soon as the whistle is blown. So if they put it on the ground, sometimes you'll see them do that because nobody's there. That 10-second starts then, so it doesn't matter that a player has to come off the court, pick it up, and then pass it. That 10 seconds is already going.
Got Michael Todd on for the Wheel Blacks. Better inbound from him there. Hayden Barton Coots, Cameron Leslie, and Gavin Rolton out there. Another equipment malfunction. So it's HBC who need a change of wheel. Greg Mitchell on the left. GM, as you can see, we spoke to earlier, Jan Roux, the other coach out there. Coaches, mechanics, they're all filling in, all doing lots of different jobs.
Yeah, the wheelchair teams need a lot of support. Lots of equipment to take care of, lots of other concerns, just moving people around, and sometimes getting them in and out of their chair.
Yes, it very much takes a village to get a rugby team on the court. (15-11), and Medell has seen all 10.5 minutes of court time thus far. He's not going anywhere at the moment. Kevin Rolton needs to get the inbound done sooner rather than later. Barton Coots with his big wingspan. Leslie hemmed in by Kovac.
He was awful close to catch that pass. I'd like to see more space between those high pointers so that the people playing defense on the guy with the ball don't have time to then retreat and get the guy who got the pass.
Barton Coots currently hiding the ball, has to bounce it every 10 seconds. And once again, the M, I think it's Rio Kovac this time, who needs a new wheel.
As soon as they get that wheel off the court, they're changing it. So he's busy changing the tires that have popped previously, and then he gets called back onto the court.
And they're not cheap, these wheels, are they?
No.
Again, said from experience from a man who plays.
Fortunately, the tubes are not as expensive as the tires or the wheels themselves.
Todd backwards over the line, keeps the deficit at just 3. Wheelbacks could do with a turnover here. They haven't provoked one yet. Great movement there from Pico Dagenet. Looks as if Kovac was just going this way and that to cruise through, but the hard work was done by the number 12, Dagenet.
As a high pointer, you can help your low pointer do their job by leading the defender. When I'm following someone down court, if I go to the left, they're going to go to that same side. It allows that low pointer then to take away some of the space that you've gained by going to one side and then work your way around them on the other side.
That was Leslie trying to get himself into a bit of space and couldn't do so in enough time. So it forced Todd to take a timeout. So that's 2 floor timeouts that the Wheelbacks have taken. He wasn't going to be able to inbound within the 10 seconds. You can see Tasman Haynes counting out every time her right arm goes out. That's another second. And now she's doing it again for the 12 seconds to get it over the halfway line. It's getting close again.
Shot clock says it was 11 seconds, so it was a good time to call timeout.
So 2 timeouts called on this play alone. 4 points adrift. Used up 2 timeouts on this play.
Canada was aggressive on both timeouts as well. They sat around that quadrant of the court where you're not allowed to be during the timeout, and they attacked right away.
Medell met with a key defense. And weaves his way through with a bit of help from number 1 Kovac. Halfway through the second quarter. The Canadians 4 points to the good. And that ball's going to come loose, and it's going to be another turnover in favour of the Canadians. A little bit too much there for Nafi Lefono to do. Dead ball situation, so we're going to have some more changes for Canada. Dave, one of your teammates has come on.
Yes, Matt Debley, number 31. And Byron Green is back out there as well, number 7. He makes that look so effortless when he goes across like that. Medell.
Nafi Lefono hands that one off to Dan Buckingham, who's come on, a veteran of the Will Blacks rugby scene. And Lefono with the try. Medell once again effortless.
It looked like they were going to have trouble. Dudley had to work to find his way up. He was patient. And Medell worked himself into the lane to make an easy pass.
Dudley is down.
Kind of spun himself.
He did. He came round in front there, and
he got chair position, which is what he's supposed to do. But he was a little bit forward, so he took the hit behind the axle and it flipped him over. He won't call a spin on the offense for that.
It's not quite like basketball. We can have an offensive foul. Now another change of lineup, and we have Jacinta Richardson, who has come on, number 11 for the Will Blacks. She's a high pointer, 3.5, but obviously female player, so it allows them to play an extra 0.5. So every player for New Zealand has had some court time already. And with, I think, the exception of Travis Moran and Joel Ewart, everyone for Canada has got on the court. Leslie and Medell. Leslie making sure he doesn't go out of bounds. Need to get the ball over the halfway line. And nicely done, however. Being pushed out of play there was Gavin Rolton, and he took a timeout, because if you carry the ball out of play, then it's a turnover, and that is the final timeout, floor timeout used by the Wheel Blacks. So
still well used, right? He got it across half court. He didn't turn it over because there was no way he was going to be able to stop. He was being pushed from behind
by Zach Medell. So there was nothing he could possibly do there. So it's a way of maintaining possession. But the only proof of whether a timeout has been well used is if you then convert it into a score. So that's what they need to do here. It's like a break of service in tennis. It's only a break if you hold your own service after that, is the old adage. Now they're waiting to pick that one up, and now the shot clock and the game clock start. That's why Leslie was letting that bounce for a second or two. Well done by Richardson. Made a little bit of a channel there for Leslie.
You got to really know the width of your chair to fit in that space.
Make sure the front casters go over before you go anywhere near the cone. No timeouts left, so they're going to have to inbound. And inbounded too late, so that is a turnover, and it'll be an inbound from the corner for Canada. All Blacks deciding that it's better to concede the corner inbound rather than just throwing the ball away and letting it get into the hands of the likes of Zach Medell, but Medell gets himself over the line as it is anyway. It's going to be tough for the Wheel Blacks now. No floor timeouts left.
Nice job pulling that ball in.
Ball goes loose, but it came off a Canadian hand, Debley, I think. So it's going to be the Wheel Blacks who get possession back. It's going to be very good practice for the Wheel Blacks, playing Canada for more than 2 periods without any timeouts.
And Canada playing with 3 players outside the key, although I think Hirschfield's going to back right in there. Because his responsibility is not letting anyone under that corner.
That throw had to be perfect with Zach Medell there lurking.
HBC making his presence known on his return.
Medell looking at the timestamps now. Going over with 55 seconds to go. That means that even if the Wheel Blacks take all 40 seconds that are on the shot clock, the Canadians will have at least 15 seconds in which to score on the final possession. Maya Armai back on with HBC. Cody Everson out there as well. This is the lineup they began with, the Wheel Blacks.
And Canada very good with the clock management. They got the last try of the first try of the second, and now they're working to get the last try of the second.
So those little things that make the difference when you've got good teams going one against the other.
And you'll see them bait the other team to reach for the ball to try and get a jump so that that'll get a turnover, or they'll go for a jump just to create that, to turn that possession arrow so they also have a chance at the first try of the next quarter.
Five seconds to go. And it's 5 seconds once it's touched. So it's the Canadians who got a chance for a Hail Mary. And it bounces off the back of the noggin of HBC. And Zach Medell taps him on the back. All friends here, and it's Canada who lead 24-18 at the big break. Welcome back after the big break. The players have had the big break, 10 minutes, and we're going to get the third period underway. And finally, we are seeing the likes of Travis Moraun, the number 2. And then we've got Whitehead, Kovac, and
I'm guessing Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, yes, on there. So that's adding up to the 8 for Canada. So Zach Medell, they finally prized that starting lineup ticket out of his hands and said, right, you're going to give the others a bit of a run out. New Zealand find themselves 6 points adrift, but they have possession to begin this third quarter, at least for them. Cameron Leslie on the ball. Hayden Barton-Coots is the huge figure you can see going in there.
3 ball handlers, right? There's Hewitt's out there too, number 10.
Robert Hewitt, and then the real low pointer is the one you can see in there, Ian Simpson. So a 3 in Barton-Coots, a 2-5 in Leslie, who's a bit of a bandit as a 2-5. A 2 in Hewitt and 0.5 in Simpson. I haven't seen a lot of Simpson, so he's getting a run out now. New Zealand setting up just outside the key.
It's an interesting setup because you now allow Rodriguez to get that corner, which he was holding pretty well. And as you saw, Whitehead was able to exploit the other corner.
Barton-Coots, big hits. But he's got to get the ball over the halfway line and does so. That was some great blocking by Kovac. So the ball, as far as the Wheel Blacks is concerned, over the line at least. And a reaching foul there.
They really had him there. I don't know that he needed to reach. Leslie had tried to get through. Barton-Coots tried to give him an avenue to get out, and they weren't able to squeak in. I don't know if I'd have reached there.
So 4 on 3, and the equivalent of 8 on 5, because it's 8 points on the court for the Wheel Blacks, only 5 on court for Canada. And traps being sprung to make sure that Whitehead can't get out of the sin bin unless he elects to inbound. And that is exactly what he has done. So he's the one hoving into view there to the left of your screen.
That's less of a win with 3 ball handlers on the floor than it is with just 2. Because if you put your primary ball handler off, then there's only one guy really to go to other than do that give and go.
Well, as we can see there from Kovac and then Moraun, both ball handlers. But if you're going high-low, 2 3-5s and 2 0.5s, then if one of your 3.5s is forced to inbound, then there are a few options to give it to. What a great option to give it to, though, is HPC. Sits so tall in his chair.
If you can get that pass right, there's no way to stop it.
And you were talking yesterday, Dave, about the size of the wheels that certain players have. So imagine HBC with, I don't know, 30-inch wheels.
I expect he pushes 26s. I think there are 1 or 2 guys out there that have 27s. But a 26-inch wheel is a huge difference in the push from a 24-inch wheel. That's harder to get started, but you have a higher top speed.
Much like the lower and higher gears on a bicycle.
Same physics.
Leslie's going to pick that one up. Hands it off, and then in the corner Robert Hewitt. Again, they've got 3 ball handlers out there.
Him fighting to try and work that in the key for a little extra time forced the defense to stay with him so that he was able to get a man open when he came down the side. He helped that availability because no one could leave to play defense.
Referee Katarina Adler waits for Robert Hewitt to come in, gives him the ball, and then starts counting as far as the inbound's concerned. Oh, you thought that one was, who on earth is that one to? And then all of a sudden a huge arm is outstretched, and you remember that HBC is on the court.
And you can see that he had to keep his hand up there for a second to make sure he didn't lose it. Quite a battle going on there with the low pointers.
Yes, Rodrigue and Simpson, 2 0.5 pointers, and there they are. So it's a 2-on-2 here. Brown is going to appear to the left of your screen. There he is. Once he could get free, there he was.
So Rodriguez is trying to get to that low pointer, Simpson, and Leslie's keeping him away. So he's now switched over to work on Leslie. Whitehead heard that one coming and got his hands up.
Barton Coots gets it back, more through luck than judgment.
In a close game, you need some balls to bounce your way, just out of luck.
It's not quite as close as the Wheel Blacks would like it to be. They get it back to 25-30.
Certainly a better showing than one might have expected based on the 2 prior games that they played.
Yes, they're looking a lot better today than they did in their defeats. In the hands of Netherlands 44-36 and Brazil 53-46.
And we haven't seen Amai for a while. And she's the big difference, right, with the extra half a point.
That's right.
That she got in pre-classification.
Classified down from a 2.5 to a 2. It's the equivalent of freeing up $500,000 in salary cap, if you like, if you're NFL fans at the moment.
I think it's 5 million now.
I see, exactly. I should, yes, I'm saying $500,000 for half a point, but no, it's more like 5 million.
Some of these guys, $500,000 is less than a game's pay.
Yes, it's dead cap and kicking it down the road for 26, 27, 28, and on the hook for people's salaries for another 10 years. Then you get Shohei Ohtani for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who's not getting paid, or he's only getting paid $1 million for the next, I don't know how many years, and then he's going to get millions after that for decades to come. Yes, these guys out here, they don't get the endorsement deals that the Major League Baseball and National Football League players get.
No, they also, some of them have to pay for their own chairs. And those things can run anywhere between $7,000 and $20,000, depending on what features you get on your chair. They're built specifically to the athlete's measurements and their purpose on the court, which is why you see different types of chairs out there. And, you know, when you start out, you use a hand-me-down chair because you don't want to spend $8,000 on a chair. But when you get equipment that fits you, it definitely improves your game. It gives you the ability to be a little more comfortable and also be able to do what you can do better.
So pretty much every player out there will have started with a hand-me-down chair. And for those of you out there watching who are looking to start, yes, don't be put off by what you think might be the costs. You'll get a warm welcome from any of your local clubs.
And no one expects you to start out at this level. Took me 8 years to get even decent at this game. But I'm a slow learner.
But it's a sport you've fallen in love with.
Oh, yeah. No question about that.
So anybody even vaguely curious about wanting to start, then you will be able to do a quick search online and find your local club, your local agency, and you'll get a very warm welcome.
Reach out to me on Facebook.
There we go. Reach out to Dave Mengen and he will find you a club anywhere in the world.
True. A lot of developing programs out there too in countries that don't have national teams. We were in Costa Rica just recently. I've been to many South American countries. I know they're working on getting some teams started in the African region and the Middle East. Israel has a good program already.
Israel, yes, were involved in the Euros last year, as were Czech Republic.
I enjoyed watching those two teams play in the Eurobees before that, and great passion, and they're having so much fun, and it was a really competitive game.
Canada 4-on-3 and taking their time to score. Debley's going to go over, and they've padded this lead. They're now 8 points clear. Out of the bin comes Cody Everson. Everson, Lynch, Buckingham, the number 13, the veteran three-pointer on the ball now. And Hayden Barton-Coots as well, the unmistakable figure and the unmistakable wingspan and unmistakable ability to throw out a pass.
Nice job there by Lynch, getting open in the key and pulling that ball in.
Into the final minute and 45 seconds of this third quarter. New Zealand looking to keep it close. And Canada scoring almost at will. That's the problem there.
Their spacing is so good. Caldwell in the opposite corner of the front court, and Debley far enough away from him and wide open.
Again, they're going with the three ball handlers. Letourneau is one of them, and that is going to be in favor of Canada, this one.
Lynch was looking at Letourneau as he was coming in to make the hit. I think he knew that if he was able to hang on to that, he was going to get hit and have to think about how am I going to keep from going out of bounds. But it was high. You're kind of in danger there when your hands are up or you're leaning forward and you take a hit. It really throws you around when you don't have any trunk muscles to help secure your position.
Debley goes over with 59 seconds to go, and it sounds like a coach's timeout has been called. Canada still with 3 timeouts that they can use, the floor timeouts. New Zealand used all of theirs by an early stage in the second quarter. Coach's timeout called by New Zealand. A number of coaches out there. Coaches behind the scenes as the mechanics. There's a couple of them in the grey t-shirts, Greg and Jan.
It takes a lot of people to run a team, a national team. You have nutritionists and trainers and coaches and the person who organizes everything, the trips and the travel and all the players' needs, as well as all the volunteers that we have doing scoring and travel to and from venues and food, and as so many people that support this sport that we can't say enough for how we appreciate classifiers, referees, commentators. Camera people.
Popped over the top very nicely there. Buckingham gets his name on the score sheet. Letourneau back for the inbound. 43.2 seconds. Are they going to try to score quickly or late? It's a time now where they can. They're 8 points clear. They've got 3 timeouts in their pockets. So if they want to, they can start working on a few game management routines.
There's only 3 seconds more on the shot clock than there are on the game clock. I'm sorry, on the game clock than there are on the shot clock, so they'll wind it down.
So no need for them to take a timeout. Just score the point, which is what Debley is going to do. And he does so with 0.5 left on the clock. Well, there's a bit of clock management for you. Absolutely perfectly done. That one's just going to sit in the lap. No, there was a little bit more left on the clock. The clock wasn't quite correct, but that one is going to sit in the lap of Hayden Barton-Coutts. And so at the final break after the third quarter, Canada lead it 37-28. We're back for the final quarter, and as you can see, Canada leading it 37-28 over their Commonwealth rivals, New Zealand. Canada, who are heading to the top of Group B, which means they will face the team that finishes second in Group A when we cross over in the semi-finals. So that's likely to be Germany, but we don't know that just yet. Germany could beat Australia in the final match of the day that's coming up in about an hour and a half's time.
They certainly could.
Joel Ewart has come on for Canada, and back on is the trademark shining dome and beard of Zach Medell. An immediate turnover as well, so they've gone back to A lineup, not quite the lineup that they began with, the Canadians, but they've got Zach Medell back out there, Joel Ewart, so a very high pointer in Medell and a high mid pointer in Ewart. Hirschfield and Dagenet out there, the 1-pointers. And they've already made the lead more than 10. Well into double figures now. Leslie, nice work too, Buckingham in the key. Medell sets off, leaves everyone in his wake, and then throws out an inch perfect pass to Ewart.
It's interesting seeing Ewart in his first international tournament against Dan Buckingham, who has played in pretty much all of them.
Leslie being forced back by Medell. Great throw out there, and once again Buckingham managing to get in the key at the right time. You can only spend 10 seconds in there as an attacker. Launch forward by Ewart. Medell on the end of it. So Canada looking as if they will be facing Germany in the semis. For New Zealand, it's a different path. Third in Group A plays fourth in Group B. Fourth in A, third in B. So it looks like New Zealand, well, it's definite now. New Zealand will be facing Colombia in the first classification match. That is going to be on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Switzerland, meanwhile, will face the Netherlands after that, and then the winners of those two matches will play off for 5th place, the losers playing off for 7th.
Colombia, another team that had a very tough tournament. Lost 2 games that were potentially winnable. So it'll be Brazil or Germany competing for that last medal, likely.
That's the likelihood if you assume that Australia and Canada are going to win their respective semi-finals. Then Brazil versus Germany is the showdown, not only for a bronze medal here, but most importantly, Medell loses the ball. And they still pick it up and steal it back.
Oh, vertical spin. Medell making sure he's okay. Sportsmanship is big in this game. We're battling in between these lines, but we're mostly friends outside the lines, and you'll see teams eating together and drinking together, and, well, not drinking at this level, but yeah, that's definitely a spin. And he knows it.
Medell in the sin bin. So that's 3.5 points off the court. Almost a steal there, though, from Hirschfield.
He and Dagenet are just hanging on to Buckingham.
Medell has elected to inbound as he was trapped coming out of the bin. And let's see where this inbound goes.
Hirschfield takes Simpson, pushes him out of the play so that he can come back, because he knows he wins that speed battle.
Pick and roll, and again, it's almost loses the ball. And again, it bounces back in their favour, and over goes Buckingham.
Zach Medell thanking Dagenet for picking that one up.
Patrick Cote, one of the coaches there for Canada, just saying, calm down, guys. 9 points clear, 5 points to go. No point in anybody getting injured ahead of the semi-finals.
Yeah, there's still work to be done here. We got 2 more days of games. And the whole point of being here is so they can get to Paris.
Buckingham ends up in the sin bin.
That's about making contact on the way down. He probably ended up leaning on Medell as he was falling. And when you initiate that contact, you are the one that goes and serves the penalty.
Looking for the inbound is Buckingham. Bounce pass, and it's just about works there to Todd. Leslie comes back to help them out. You can hear them counting down, getting the ball over the halfway line within the 12.
Big backspin on that pass so that somebody could go get it, but Buckingham was trapped at the baseline by Hirschfield.
The only person who could go and get it was Leslie himself. You can see that Leslie and Medell having a bit of chat. Ball goes dead, so we're going to have a substitution or two. Jacinta Richardson is back on for the Wheel Blacks. Nafi Lefono. Ewart goes through uncontested, and the lead is back up beyond double figures.
I wonder why we haven't seen more of Maya Amai now, with the lower classification and that line able to be stronger with her out there.
You'd have thought that they would have wanted to have practiced that line more now that she's been reclassified.
I think it looked pretty good when they were out there. Maybe I didn't see something that the coach saw. And it could just be a matter of they want to work some of these other lines.
Well, the next match is Australia versus Germany, and you'll be commentating with Greg Mitchell, one of the many coaches down there. You can see him on the left of the grey T-shirt with the straps there. So you can ask him that.
Greg with lots of rugby experience too. As a coach, he plays in the league in New Zealand. He's the equipment guy. He's done everything.
Stats analysis, mechanic. Good sense of humour, because when I was interviewing him before the match, the team was warming up and deliberately bouncing the ball off his head and off my microphone, and he took it all in good part. Oh, that was a great piece of work there by Hirschfield to get Leslie away from Zach Medell.
Still that low point battle going on up at half court.
Simpson spinning around and trying to slow down Medell. Meanwhile, Leslie is cruising over the line.
New Zealand's key defense didn't really do anything to stop him there.
Good fortune there for the Wheel Blacks, and maybe a huge round of applause as Jacinta Richardson goes over.
She seems to be a fan favorite. A lot of Wheel Blacks jerseys in the crowd.
Indeed, there's a lot of, entourages, people either wearing, there's quite a few Marshall Armai jerseys for Maya being the cousin of Benji Marshall, who was a legendary rugby league player and is now coach of the West Tigers in the National Rugby League competition. National in Australia, but it features the New Zealand Warriors. And then there are plenty of other jerseys with other names, people's own names on the backs, and plenty of All Blacks jerseys, Wheel Blacks jerseys. It's good to see. So in front of our commentary position, I can see at least half a dozen number 6 jerseys for HBC.
I've been surprised in my travels as I've talked to people here in the country at how many people are familiar with the sport. They do some grassroots fundraising at the grocery stores and through commercials, and people know the movie Murderball. I've talked to a lot of people about it throughout the week, a week and a half that I've been here. And for a team that tends to be on the smaller side, there are less athletes here as well. It's great to see that level of support and knowledge. Sometimes it's just about getting the information out there, letting people know that the sport exists so they can see how cool it is.
Line up now after that last coach's timeout. Sees Buckingham back on with Richardson. And then we have Lynch and Everson, and the inbound bunted forward by Lynch was a bit of a hopeful one. So it ended up being a turnover, and that's Canada now 12 points clear. This inbounding suddenly becomes a lot more difficult when you haven't got Hayden Barton-Coots out there. They're not up against Zach Medell. Change of lineup for the Canadians as well. Travis Moran back out there, and they forced an over and back. You can see the referee there, Tasmin Haynes, gesturing with a hand over and back over the halfway line and back behind the halfway line, which is what Jacinta Richardson did.
You can see her trying to hold it as Ewart came in behind her.
Yeah, she didn't do it deliberately. She was forced into it, but that's how this sport works. You can force your opponents into doing things that they don't want to do.
She tried to return the favor there at the line, but the ball came in before she could get there.
Yeah,
still made the hit, though.
Push comes to shove on a regular basis in this sport. Down into the last 2 minutes. Canada 13 points clear.
Again, our next one at 6 o'clock is Australia and Germany. 6 o'clock New Zealand time.
Just over an hour away.
Both of those teams undefeated.
It is indeed for top spot in Group A. Whoever wins that will face Brazil, and whoever loses that will come up against Canada. So here the semi-finals.
The referee's counting that 10 seconds. New Zealand needs to get that ball in quickly.
An illustration of what you mentioned earlier, Dave. They'll just put the ball down on the floor and say, it's up to you. I'm not going to wait. The inbound 10 seconds starts now, and it ended up being a turnover.
Debley's really good at collapsing on that passing lane and intercepting a pass like that. I've seen him do it so many times. Great catch by Buckingham.
Throws that one out, and a great backhanded pass to Richardson, who's still got a lot of work to do to get the ball over the halfway line. And she decides to do it herself. Not quite. And Debley again picks that one up. So passes going astray towards the end here. reaching foul from Buckingham.
She did a great job of getting out of there and using her pick to kind of circle back and then come back out to get across, but I'm sure she'd like to have that pass back.
Yeah, she couldn't quite get it over the halfway line herself. So 3 points down there. You can see Buckingham with a 3.0 on the back of his chair, clearly illustrating his classification. And he's on the sidelines. Canada are going to run the clock down as much as they like. Deadly bounces the ball, as you have to do every 10 seconds, bounce it or offload it. Spins.
10 left on the shot clock.
And scores with 55 to go, which is what every coach wants you to do. Because even if the opponents take all 40 seconds to score, you'll still have 15 left. Tasmin Haynes saying, I'm going to put the ball on the floor if you don't come and pick it up. That's another ball going astray there. It's just going to go out of play, and I think it's going to go lucky there for the Wheel Blacks.
And that was forced. Ewart came in and hit her from behind just as Richardson was trying to catch that ball. Made it really difficult for her.
I think one thing we can say that the second or even third string for Canada is far stronger than New Zealand's, from what we can see when they were going toe-to-toe with the starting lineups. First quarter, the Wheel Blacks kept it very tight. And then quite an experimental lineup here. I should say we've seen very little of Maya Armai. Now we've gone back on to Leslie, Barton Coots, Todd and Simpson for the final minute. Canada stretching it, trying to stretch it out. 14 points clear. This could be the final possession of the game. Moran's going to cross his arms, keep hold of that one. Debley will be looking to get the final score of the contest. Going to take his time getting over the line. Leaves 5 seconds. What can Todd do? Needs to get it to Barton Coots. Someone needs to get it to Barton Coots. And the ball goes loose. Canada will have 2.5 seconds maybe. No, it's going to be New Zealand with the inbound. Someone's got to come and take it. And a coach's timeout has been called with 2.4 to go, and that
substitutions
enables
right
some substitutions. Nafi Lefono has come on. Someone needs to inbound it though. All 4 of them were in the key.
That's interesting. I understand that you want to attack, and then whoever can make that pass and also isn't in the right place will come out.
Barton Coots is the one with the best throwing arm, and it's come to nothing. It is picked up at the last by Debley, and Canada have won it 54-39. New Zealand giving a good account of themselves, but coming up short. Canada winning the group as everybody thought they would at the outset. They've very much taken care of business, winning all 3 of their matches. And winning it quite comfortably today. Zach Medell having a little bit of a rest. They ran through all of their lines, trying a few different ones here and there. All 12 players getting some court time. And they're looking good going into the semi-finals, and dare we say it, at this early stage into the final.
Yeah, Canada's a very strong team. They've got a lot of depth, and New Zealand just wasn't able to keep up with that.
Kept up with them in the early going in the first quarter when they had their best players out there. And strange that we didn't see more of Maya Armai who's been classified down to a 2.0 from a 2.5.
But as you said, we're going to try and find out during the next game.
Exactly. We'll get the inside scoop when we get to hear from Greg Mitchell when he's commentating on the final match of the day.
I expect we'll be able to get an interview from both teams since they both speak English.
Indeed.
So if you want to hang around for that, please do. Great reception from the fans.
There you can see the fans in front of us. Players giving back what they've got from the fans who've turned out here at the New Zealand Campus of Innovation and Sport. And I'm sure they'll be here tomorrow when New Zealand take on Colombia in a playoff to see if they can get through to the 5th and 6th place match, which will be on Sunday. New Zealand versus Colombia, that promises to be a tight match, that one. Colombia not with the strength in depth. They struggled to bring a number of players with them, but certainly strength in depth for New Zealand, and they have 2 female players now in their squad, and one of them, Jacinta Richardson, is here with our colleague Jai Waite.
Jacinta, big game against Canada. How did you feel you went?
I feel like I went okay. I'm still new to the team, so it's kind of just making sure that I do what I'm meant to do and I keep my mind together and I remember how to play. And I'm hoping that I accomplish that. So, yeah, I feel like it went pretty good.
And for you, thinking about like growing up, like, did you have any team sports? Is this like, how's that?
Yeah, I did play a lot of team sports before I was more as disabled as I am now. So, yeah, not my first, but another to add to my collection.
But this one's the best one, right?
Definitely, yes.
And tomorrow, who you got?
I think we have Colombia. So that should be interesting. They've played really well, as I've seen. They played really well against Australia, so it should be really good.
Okay, good luck. Go well.
She was thrown a Kiwi there, so so
Hey,
she's got a mascot to take with her. And now Jai, our teammate Jai, is going to talk to your teammate Dave, Matt Debley.
Matt, another victory for Canada. How did it go?
It feels great, man. You know, team effort. It's awesome when we can run all of our guys and everybody kind of gets a break and gets to play. So it's just a great all-around team effort for us.
And the Kiwis first quarter, they brought it?
Yeah, well, we know they're going to bring it. We always expect them to bring it, and you know, they brought it all the way through to the end. And it's a grind, and we just keep fighting.
Cool. And tomorrow, who you got?
I think we're going to have the loser of the game that's on right now, Australia-Germany. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, go well. Good luck, mate. Cheers.
Take care.
Glad to see everyone is up with the ins and outs and who qualifies for what. So yes, the long and the short of it is New Zealand will be in a classification match tomorrow against Colombia, whereas Canada, having won Group B, will face the second place team in Group A, and that will either be Australia or Germany. We will find that out in exactly 1 hour's time when Australia take on Germany, and the winner of that will finish top of Group A. So please come back and join us in an hour's time.